Hello, my name is Thomas Bittler, and I'm a professional bartender. And today we're going to talk about bartending, and we're going to teach you how to make drinks like a professional bartender. And please always remember, drink responsibly. You see, bartending is a very interesting profession. A bartender from 100 years ago could walk behind this bar with me right now, and he would know how to work this bar. Why? Because the basic rules of bartending have not changed for at least the last 100 years. The rules are simple, they're easy to learn, and I'm going to teach them to you so that you can make drinks at home that will amaze your family and your friends at any party or get-together you might choose to have. Now I'm going to tell you what you need in your basic liquor cabinet. You're going to need rum, you're going to need gin, going to need vodka. You're going to need scotch. Going to need bourbon. Going to need tequila. And you're going to need an American whiskey. And finally, you're going to need a brandy or a cognac. I prefer cognac because it gives a smoother taste to most of your mixed drinks. Now you're going to need to buy some supplies for your bar, which you can get at any restaurant supply store. Now the first thing we'll talk about is the station. When bartenders work together, they can get a little competitive, so each bartender in the bar gets what is known as his station. That's his area of customers that he's going to work with. And this name has come down to the tools that the bartender needs also, because each bartender needs these tools to work, so these tools are known as his station. So let's build a station. And the first thing you need is the shaker cup. The next thing you need is the mixing glass. Then you need your strainer. You need your stirring spoon. And last but not least, you need your ice scoop. Believe me, do not dip your hand in the ice. It will get cold. And there you have a station. Other things you need are a shot glass. This shot glass is most important when you're starting out. The one we're using today is 1 1/4 ounces. It's our standard measure. It's sometimes referred to as a jigger. And if I say we're going to be using a full measure, I mean we're going to fill this shot glass to the top. And that's going to be the measure of the alcohol that we're using for that particular drink. You also have what's known as a speed pour. This speed pour goes in the top of your bottle, and it prevents you from splashing liquor all over yourself and your guests. And you need a blender. You can probably use the blender in your house. I'm sure it will do. The kind of glasses that you have in your bar are very important because that's part of the presentation. And after all, you want your drinks to look as beautiful as they taste. Let's talk about the glasses. We have the highball glass. This is 8 ounces. It's probably the glass you'll use the most in your bar. It's used with liquors and chasers such as juices or sodas. Next, you have the rocks glass. This is a glass that's used, not surprisingly, with liquor on the rocks. Then we have the martini glass, probably the most elegant glass in your collection. Then we have the snifter. The snifter is used for cognacs, and it's shaped this way so you can hold the glass thusly with the cognac inside, swirl it around. The heat of your hand makes the bouquet rise up to further enjoy the drink. Then we have your champagne glass. When you're trying to impress that special someone, you cannot serve champagne in a rocks glass. You need a champagne glass. Wine glass for red and white wine. Beer glass. Most people prefer a 16 or 14 ounce beer glass. And lastly, we have the glass we already spoke of, the shot glass, which we'll use to measure your drinks. With these basic glasses, you will be able to make any drink that you're called upon to make in your bar. Let's talk about making drinks in a highball glass. The highball glass I'm using is an 8 ounce highball glass. The measuring shot glass I'm using is 1 1/4 ounces. For my recipes that I'm using, you must use these size of glasses. If you're going to vary the size of glasses, you have to vary the recipe a little bit, adding or subtracting a little more depending on if your glass is smaller or larger. We're going to need some mixers to mix the liquor with to make your cocktails. Now the mixers fall into two groups, which are basically sodas and juices. So let's talk about the sodas. Now, of course, you're going to need cola. You're going to need Diet Cola for those people that are a little bit weight conscious. Then we're going to need Sprite. Then we're going to need the big one, tonic water. Tonic water is most important. We're also going to need ginger ale. And last but certainly not least, we're going to need club soda. The next basic group is the juice group. Let's start with orange juice, cranberry juice, grapefruit juice. We also need tomato juice for Bloody Marys, pineapple juice, and also coconut milk, which we use to make our pina coladas. Let's talk about a little group of mixers I call the odds and ends. Don't worry about what we use them for, I'll explain that later. First there's sour mix, grenadine, sweetened lime juice, and bitters. Garnishes are an important part of your drink because they're part of your presentation, and they're also fun because you get to prepare them yourself. I'm going to show you how to prepare some garnishes. First, let's talk about the 6 garnishes. These are the cherries, the onions, and the olives. Then there are oranges, limes, and lemons. Now the cherries, the onions, the olives, you simply take out of the jar and pour into a rocks glass. Set them aside for when you need them. But you actually have to prepare your oranges, your lemons, and your limes. So let's do that. First, we're going to show you how to prepare the orange. The orange is rather large, so the first thing we want to do with our bar knife is slice off the ends. This prevents it from rolling around while you're trying to cut it. Let's stand it on the end. Slice it right down the middle. Now you have 2 halves. Take 1 half and slice approximately 1/8 inch slices. You're probably going to end up with 7 or 8 slices. Here's your typical orange slice right here. And to get a little more fancy, put a little slice in the middle. Hook it on your glass, you have a beautiful orange slice. Now let's put these oranges in a rock glass so we have them for later. And let's move on to limes. Limes are a little smaller, so I generally just go right down the middle. Take our 2 halves, and we're going to cut about 1/4 inch slice, slice. I don't make the slit in the lime because usually you prefer your lime inside the drink where it gets more flavor. So you don't need a slit there. Now we have the lemon. The lemon is actually the most fun. First you have your basic lemon cut. When you cut it in half, 1/4 inch slice, 1/4 inch slice, lime wedges. The most interesting one is the lemon twist. People ask you, give me a twist of lemon. So, how do I get a twist out of this? Aha. This is a secret that bartenders know. First, cut off the 2 ends, like you did with the orange. Okay, now, this is where the fun part comes in. Take your bar spoon, and underneath the pulp, and between the skin, insert your spoon. This is going to get the pulp loosened. And here we go. And then let's flip it over. Get the pulp in here. And here we go. As you can see, it's coming out. It's a little messy, but don't be afraid. You notice there's a lot of juice here, and I'm getting some of it on me, but that's good because bartenders cannot be afraid to get wet. Ah, here it is. Victory. We have our pulp out. Now, what you have here, you can see, it's pure skin. Just a little bit of pulp left inside, but that's good because it'll give you flavor. Cut your rind, turn it over, flatten it, cut this off, a little bit of an angle. Now, every 1/8 of an inch again, right down the lemon. You're going to get a little pulp, but that's fine. That's great for the taste. And there you have lemon twists, which will give you a beautiful flavor when you twist them because there's just a tiny bit of pulp there and you'll get the juice. So that's how you prepare your garnishes. Now we're going to make another rocks drink, the Americano. The way I remember how to make this drink is that it's based on the Negroni, but it doesn't include gin. So I always tell myself when anybody orders it, the Americano doesn't want gin. So with that, you'll never forget it. So since we're not going to use gin, we're going to start with the next ingredient, which is sweet vermouth. 3/4 of a shot. Our next ingredient, Campari. Again, 3/4. And to lighten it up, make it a little lighter than the Negroni, we put in club soda, almost to fill, and garnish with lemon twist. Twist it right there. Stir stick. The Americano. Now we're going to talk about the Bay Breeze. Bay Breeze starts out the same way. Shot of vodka. Highball glass. This time only half cranberry juice. And then we're going to fill it with pineapple juice. Little room because you got a lime garnish coming in. And that is the Bay Breeze. Let's make some cocktails that don't involve juices. One of the most basic is the Black Russian. The Black Russian is made in a rocks glass. Most drinks that are made in rocks glasses are 2-liquor drinks. That means they consist only of 2 liquors blended together. And that's true of the Black Russian. And we start out again with vodka. And then you add half a shot glass of coffee flavored liqueur. So, pour it on top of your vodka. Give it a little swirl with the swizzle stick. And you see that vodka? There it is. Black Russian. In Paris in the 1920s, there was a drink invented at a bar called Harry's Bar to deal with the hangovers of the American expatriates that were living there at the time. And this drink is called the Bloody Mary. Now, it's a simple drink to make wrong, so we're going to make it right. Now, let's start out with the basic ingredient, which is vodka in a highball glass. Then you add tomato juice. Just bring it up about 3/4 of the way. And now we're going to add things to kill that nasty hangover. We're going to put in a touch of Tabasco sauce. We're going to put a touch of Worcestershire sauce. Now, let's add a little salt. That's about right. And a little bit of pepper. Okay. The garnish, celery stick, about 6 inches. Then just fill it up with a touch more tomato juice. A little hair of the dog, the Bloody Mary. Now we're going to make the Cape Cod. Again, same way. Start out with our vodka. Highball glass. No orange juice this time. Only cranberry juice. Leave yourself just a little room because it takes a lime. They call this a Cape Cod because on Cape Cod, Massachusetts, is where they grow cranberries. So that's why this is the Cape Cod. There you go. This drink was discovered when it appeared on a very popular television show, and now it's all the rage. It's called the Cosmopolitan. I'm going to show you how I make it. First, we're going to start with a chilled glass, just like we chill our martini glass. Going to let that do the work. Then we start off with a jigger, nice measured shot of vodka. We're going to add 1 half shot of Cointreau or triple sec. Then we're going to add 2 measured shots of cranberry juice. This is very important because you don't want this drink too red. 2 measured shots is plenty. And now just a touch of sweetened lime juice. Good. Stir it around 12 times. Let's drop our ice from our chilled glass back in. Strainer, always flush against the rim. Into our chilled glass. Okay. Now we're going to put in the garnish. It's a little sliver of lime. The Cosmopolitan. There's a very basic drink that sometimes causes confusion, even in experienced bartenders. And it's because with a very small addition, it changes the name completely. So we'll start with the original version, which is the rum and Coke. 8-ounce highball glass, 1 measure of rum, then add your cola. That is a rum and Coke. Now, what if one of your friends asks you for a Cuba Libre? Well, you have your rum and Coke, and a Cuba Libre is just the addition of a small wedge of lime. And now, you say, here you are, your Cuba Libre. Martinis. This separates the bartenders from the amateurs. Now, there's only one way to make it, and that's the right way. Martini drinkers are very picky. If you can't make it the right way, don't try it. But I'm going to show you the right way, so don't worry. Now, first thing we have to do, we take our martini glass, we're going to chill it. How are we going to chill it? We're going to put a little ice from our shaker cup. Put it right here, set it aside. That's going to chill while we're working, okay? What makes a martini dry or wet? The vermouth. A wet martini has a lot of vermouth. A dry martini has little or no vermouth. These days, almost no one will ask you for a wet martini. All martinis are made either dry or extra dry. We're going to take our dry vermouth. Put just a dash inside your ice. Take our stirring spoon. Stir it around. Okay, now, this is the secret. Put on your strainer. Strain out that vermouth. Now we have the flavor of vermouth in the glass, but no actual vermouth. Now we're going to add a measure of gin. Mix it up. About 12 turns should be fine. Take your ice, back in the cup. Put on your strainer, put it flush against the edge into our chilled martini glass. Add olives. That is the dry martini. Let's make a dry vodka martini. Let's first chill our glass. Little ice, there we are. That'll get chilled while we work. Now, the key to dry or wet is the vermouth. A lot of vermouth, wet, very little, dry. So we're just going to take a touch. Don't even have to measure it. Just drop a touch in your mixing glass. Boom, that's good. Then, here is the secret. You're going to take your strainer, cover your mixing cup, pour out that vermouth. Now all you have left there is the flavor of vermouth. Then you're going to take your vodka, one full measure. There we are. Stir it around 12 times. Pour our ice back in. Put our strainer back on. Pour it into our nicely chilled glass. And the vodka martini usually takes a twist. If people ask for olives, of course, you give it to them, but usually it takes a twist. And there we are. Dry vodka martini with twist. Now let's make an extra dry martini. If the dry martini only has a touch of vermouth that we put into the mixing cup and strain out, how are we going to make anything drier than that? Well, I'll show you. First, let's chill our glass so that it can get nice and cool while we're working. Now, extra dry martini. Pick up your vermouth and do a circle with the bottle around the glass. Do not put one drop of vermouth into that glass. Put your bottle down. Take your gin, one measure, into your mixing cup. Then we're going to stir 12 times, get it nice and cold. Put our ice back in here. Put on your strainer, right flush to the edge. and olive garnish. The extra dry gin martini. Let's make our extra dry vodka martini. Now, how are we going to make it extra dry, just like the extra dry gin martini? First, let's chill our glass. Okay, fine. Now, pick up your vermouth bottle. Make sure the person you're making this drink for sees this. And swing it once around the top of the glass and put that vermouth bottle right back down. There's no vermouth in there. Take your vodka, full measure, mixing cup, 12 times around. I just do it 12 times because that's easy to remember. You can do it 14 if you want. Let's pour our ice back in. Now we have a beautiful chilled glass. Strain it out. And the extra dry vodka martini with a lemon twist. They'll love it. Now let's talk about another drink we can make with the rock glass. It's called the gimlet. The gimlet is a 2-ingredient drink as opposed to a 2-liquor drink, but the concept is still the same. You start out this time with gin. 1 shot of gin into your rock glass. And now the second ingredient is sweetened lime juice. You can buy this in any liquor store. Put a half a shot of sweetened lime juice into your rock glass. Add a lime and a little bit of a stir. And there you go. Very refreshing drink. The gimlet. The gin and tonic. You'll find people ask you for this anytime you step behind the bar. And we're going to show you how to make it. Very simple. Your 1 shot of gin into a highball glass. We're going to add our tonic water. And always lime garnish. This drink is very popular in the summer, but people ask you for it year-round. There you go. Gin and tonic. Let's make the Long Island iced tea. Now the name will be self-explanatory when we're done. We're going to make it in a 16-ounce mixing glass because it's a 5-liquor drink and it's just too big for any other glass. So let's start with our first liquor. A half ounce of vodka. Let's add a half ounce of gin. Let's add a half ounce of light rum. Then a half an ounce of silver tequila. Last, but most importantly, triple sec. And to make it good and sweet, I like to put a full ounce of triple sec. Now, we're not done. We have to put the bar fruit mix, pre-sweetened. Okay, don't fill it up to the top. Leave yourself your usual inch of room. I have my little lid here. We're going to shake it. Okay. Now, final ingredient, some cola. Fill it right to the top. Lemon wedge garnish. Straw, stir. Now what does that look like? Iced tea? You got it. The Long Island iced tea. Now we're going to make a variation on the screwdriver. This drink is called a Madras. It's named after the color that you'll see in just a second, which is also pronounced Madras. So we start out with vodka into your highball glass, orange juice, but this time only half a glass. There. Now the other half of a glass is cranberry juice. Leave yourself a little room because this drink takes a garnish. Takes a lime. Squeeze it in there. Swizzle stick. That's a Madras. The Manhattan is a two-liquor drink that was invented at a famous New York City hotel in the turn of the last century. It's a two-ingredient drink, and the first ingredient is sweet vermouth. Put in 1/2 measure of sweet vermouth in a rock glass with ice. 1 full measure of an American whiskey over ice. Your garnish is a maraschino cherry. Add a swizzle stick. And there you go. You're ready to take on Manhattan. Let's try the most famous drink that's made with tequila, and that's the margarita. Now, the margarita involves a bit of garnish that you have to do before you even start the drink. You have to salt the rim of the margarita glass, which I'm using a martini glass in this case. You take your lime, place it on the rim of the glass, rotate the glass once, holding the lime firmly in place. That should put enough lime juice on your glass. Have a plate handy with some salt. Put your glass on the plate, rotate the glass 3 times, and there you have a nicely salted rim. Now put your glass aside for just a second. Now we're going to actually make the drink. You have to make this drink in your mixing glass. It's a 4-ingredient drink. Okay, so we'll take it step by step. Start with 1 full measure of tequila. Second ingredient is a liqueur called Cointreau, or you can use regular triple sec. They're the same liqueur, just different brand names. So 1/2 shot of triple sec or Cointreau. Now we need the sweetened, always use sweetened, you can buy sweetened in any liquor store, sweetened cocktail mix, which is basically sweetened citrus juice. We're going to need 2 full jiggers of pre-sweetened cocktail mix. And last, we're going to add sweetened lime juice. This is also available in any liquor store. You don't have to measure this, just a dash. Good. Okay, now, to really blend that, stirring won't do it. So take your shaker cup. We're going to tell you why this is called a shaker cup. You're going to see right now. Put your shaker cup on top of your mixing cup, upside down. Okay? Over the shoulder, 8 times. Give it a little twist. Okay, now take your strainer. Push it up against the rim. so that this rim is flush with the front rim of your shaker cup. Let's pour it right down the middle. We don't want to take the salt off the edge of that glass. Right down the middle. There you go. Now your only garnish, the lime garnish, same lime you used for the rim. Give it a little extra squeeze. Place it in the middle. And you'll have a margarita that your neighbors will envy, believe me. That's the margarita. This cocktail is made in a rock glass. It's called the Negroni. And like many rock glass cocktails, it contains only liquor. It's a 3-ingredient drink. We're going to start with gin. That's our base. So let's add a full measure of gin. Our second ingredient is a half measure of sweet vermouth. And then we're going to add a half measure of Campari. Lemon twist, garnish. Give it a good twist. That drops a little juice in there. Stir it. And there you are, 3-liquor drink. The Negroni. A variation on the Manhattan is the Rob Roy. The Rob Roy is named after a famous Scottish hero. So what does that tell you? One of the ingredients is scotch. First ingredient, again, is half measure of sweet vermouth, followed by a full measure of scotch. Garnish, maraschino cherry. Swizzle stick. Rob Roy. After the highball was invented, a new soft drink came along, a lemon lime soft drink. And people found they liked to mix this in their highballs, and that changed the name of the highball to 7 and 7. And I'm going to show you how to make one. Starts off with exactly the same whiskey, American whiskey, 1 measure. Fill with lemon lime soft drink. Add swizzle stick. So we just changed the mixer, and now we have a whole new drink, the 7 and 7. Let's talk about scotch. Scotch drinkers have a term they might throw at you, and I want to make you familiar with it. They might say, "Give me my scotch neat." What does that mean? Do you blow the dust off the bottle? No. What that means is they don't want any ice. Okay, just a fancy way of saying that. So if somebody asks you for scotch neat, take your shot glass, 1.5 ounces of scotch, and into an empty rocks glass, not a shot glass. The reason for this is this allows the bouquet of the scotch to come up while they're drinking it. They will definitely want it in this kind of glass. That's scotch neat. They might also say, "I want a water back." That just means they want a glass of water. So don't be thrown by these terms. Give them a glass of water with their scotch. Now, they want scotch on the rocks. Same things apply. We put ice in the rocks glass. 1 shot of scotch. Rocks glass filled with ice. This one gets a swizzle stick. There you go. Scotch neat, Scotch on the rocks. Now we're going to make a screwdriver. A screwdriver is a variation on the vodka and tonic. You start out exactly the same way. Fill your shot glass with vodka. Pour it into your highball glass. But now instead of tonic, you add orange juice. Leave yourself a little bit of room, maybe a quarter of an inch. This does not take a garnish. You don't need any fruit, just a swizzle stick. And there you have it. Screwdriver. Let's make a drink called Sex on the Beach. We make it in a highball glass, and it starts out with a ½ ounce of vodka. Our next ingredient is a ½ ounce of peach schnapps. Then we're going to do 1.5 ounces maybe of orange juice, equal amount cranberry juice. Leave yourself the inch at the top to work with, because we're going to add a run of raspberry liqueur. Just run it around the top. Add a stir stick. Give it one stir. Enjoy. Sex on the beach. Let's make a Singapore sling. Now a Singapore sling starts out just like a Tom Collins. So we're going to start with a full measure of gin. Then we're going to add 2 full measures of our bar sweet and sour mix. Now to make it a sling, we're going to add a dash of grenadine. Shake. Let's pour it into our highball glass. You notice I left some room. That's because we have to fill with club soda. Leave yourself your inch at the top, because we're going to run around some cherry brandy. There we go. Garnish with orange and cherry. And there you have it. Singapore sling. Let's make a drink called the Tequila Sunrise. And if I make it right, you'll see why it's called that. We'll start off with a measure of tequila into a highball glass. Follow with orange juice. Leave yourself about a ½ an inch from the rim. This is what we're going to do. Is put in some grenadine syrup. This is a syrup that is available in any liquor store, which we are going to run around, make a circle around the top of the glass, and then look at the drink for a second. Let's see. There's your sun coming up right there. So I did it right. Tequila Sunrise. Garnish with an orange. I wouldn't really stir that around. You can just drop the swizzle stick in it, but you don't want to ruin the color. There it is. Tequila Sunrise. This cocktail is called the Tom Collins, It's the perfect summer drink. It's been very popular since Prohibition, maybe before. And the main ingredient in this drink is gin. So let's start it off. We're going to mix it in our mixing cup. Put in 1.25 ounces, full jigger. Then we're going to put in 2 measures of pre-sweetened bar juice or citrus juice. Okay, we really want to blend this, so we're going to shake it up. This is a lid that this shaker glass happens to come with. They're quite good. Let's shake it up. And then let's strain it into our highball glass that we're using. And you notice I left some room. That's because the next ingredient and the final ingredient is we fill with club soda. Garnish with orange and cherry. There we go. Little straw. Let's put that on the rim. Yeah, that looks nice. There it is. Summertime. Tom Collins. Now the drink I'm going to make in this highball glass is the very basic vodka and soda. Start out with 1.25 ounces measured in your shot glass of vodka. Add club soda to fill. Just to the top because you're going to need a little room for a lime garnish. This is the vodka and soda. Interestingly, there is no gin and soda. I've never had anybody ask me for one. So I would say vodka and soda is unique. There you are, vodka and soda. We're going to start with a really easy drink. It's vodka and tonic. Take your shot glass. Remember, we're going to use that for a measure. Also notice my bottle has a speed pour in it. Do not pick up the bottle like this because the speed pour might fly out and you're going to lose half your bottle. Always pick up the bottle like this, hold on to your speed pour, and you're set. Take your shot glass. This is 1.25 ounce shot that I'm using here. Fill it up. Bring it to your glass, pour it right in. Then, what do you need? Tonic. This is my tonic water. Fill it just about to the top, but you gotta have to leave a little space because the garnish is a lime. Squeeze your lime inside. If you do not squeeze that lime in right, I guarantee you that somebody's gonna take it back out and squeeze it right in front of you, and that's embarrassing. So please squeeze it the right way. Put in your stir stick. There you go. That is vodka and tonic, your first drink. Let's make a whiskey sour. Now the name tells you what's in the drink. Whiskey and sour mix. Very basic. Let's start out on the rocks glass, a full measure of whiskey. And add a jigger of our sour mix. This drink should be well blended, so we're going to shake it quickly. We can pour it right back into our glass. No strainer required. See the nice foam? Let's add orange and cherry garnish. The whiskey sour. Our next shooter is the Alabama Slammer. Now, where is Alabama located in our great country? It's located in the South. So our main ingredient here is Southern Comfort. Now, we have 4 ingredients we have to get into 2 ounces, so we have to be very careful. Let's start out with a half an ounce of our main ingredient, Southern Comfort. Then we're going to add 1/2 an ounce of Amaretto. Let's follow that with 1/4 an ounce only of Sloe Gin. And then we're going to put in, for the finish, 1/4 an ounce of pre-sweetened bar mix. Now, to really shake this up good, we're going to invert it, shake it up. Okay. That should mix it. Always put your strainer flush of your metal cup. Alabama Slammer. Now we're going to talk about shooters. Shooters are small alcoholic drinks, usually 2 ounces or less, that can be sipped or, for the more adventurous, thrown back in one gulp. There's a difference between the shooter glass and the shot glass. This is a shot. This is our shot glass. Remember, we were using it to measure? A shot, you just take your shot glass, fill it up, give it to them. There you are. That's a shot, okay? That is not a shooter. A shooter is a mixed cocktail. We can't mix anything in this little glass. At least I wouldn't try it. So we use a shooter glass, about 2 ounces. This is the one this bar happens to have, which is a very interesting one. You can get one like this. You see the difference between the size of a shooter glass and a martini glass? Quite a difference, right? We're going to use a nice shooter glass that lets us mix. So this glass that we're going to use today is for our first drink. And our first drink is the famous B-52. The base of our B-52 is Kahlua. Give yourself about 3/4 of a shot. There we go. Now this drink is kind of fun because if you do it right, you can layer it. Now to layer it, we're going to use our bar spoon. We're going to turn it over so that the rounded side is up. Paint it, put it flat right against the glass there. Then we're going to take our Baileys and pour it carefully over the top. Raise the bar spoon up as the liquid fills the glass. And there you go, we have one layer. Now our last ingredient in the B-52 is Grand Marnier. Again, place your bar spoon flat against the glass and very carefully pour your Grand Marnier on the top of that spoon. Raise it up. Raise it up. Okay. About 1/4 an ounce is good there. And let's see if we did a good job. Not bad at all. You see the 3 layers? Kahlua, Baileys, Grand Marnier. That's a shooter of a B-52. Bombs away. This shooter is called the cordless screwdriver because the basic ingredient is vodka, as in a screwdriver, but there's no orange juice, which is the cord. So what are we going to use? We're going to use orange-flavored vodka. Now we start out with our glass. Again, going to use our orange, moisten it, invert it into the sugar. There we go. It's a nice sugared rim. Let's put that aside. Now our basic ingredient, as I said, is orange flavored vodka. That gives us an orange flavor without orange juice. 1.5 ounces. Stir 12 times. And now let's pour it into our sugared glass. No need to plug it in. That's the cordless screwdriver. This next shooter is called the Flying Grasshopper. Now it's derived from the drink the Grasshopper, which contains half and half. So we're going to take the half and half out, make it lighter, hence the Flying Grasshopper. So our first ingredient is going to be a half an ounce of green creme de menthe. Then we're going to add a half ounce of white creme de menthe. And then to make it a proper shooter, we're going to add 1 ounce, just leave yourself a little space at the top, of vodka. And we have 2 ounces. Let's stir it up. Strain it into our shooter glass. And it's ready to take flight. The Flying Grasshopper. This shooter is called the Kamikaze. Now the name is not due to any of the ingredients that it has, but the name Kamikaze in Japanese means divine wind. And this will refresh you like the most beautiful summer breeze you ever experienced. So first we're going to start out with 1 ounce of vodka. Give a touch of room at the top, because we have to fit 3 ingredients here. Let's put in a half ounce of triple sec. Good. And a dash of Rose's lime juice. Let's stir it up. Strain into our shooter glass. See how good is my measure. There you go. Enjoy the Kamikaze. This shooter is called the lemon drop. Now the first thing we do in a lemon drop is we're going to sugar the rim. So we're going to take our orange. 1 rotation is good. Then we're going to invert it into our plate of sugar. 1 rotation generally is enough. Okay, now we have a sugared rim. We can put that aside for the moment. Our main ingredient in the lemon drop is lemon vodka. And we take 1.25 ounces of lemon vodka. That's our basis. So we're going to measure that out. Pour it into our mixing cup. And the second ingredient I like to add to just give it that extra bit of citrus flavor is triple sec. Just give us about a shot, no more, that's it, of triple sec. Pour that in. Stir it around your 12 times. Now let's pour it in here. Our sugared glass. And there we go. The lemon drop. We're going to make a banana daiquiri. First, let's prepare the banana. Let's slice the ends off. Then let's hold the banana, slice it right down the middle, very slowly and carefully. Okay? Let's peel back the skin. Beautiful. Now, let's cut it into small pieces. We don't want our blender to work too hard. That should be plenty. Put them right in there. There we are. We want to do our glass like we did before. We're going to fill it up with ice. That's a nice measure of ice. There we are. Now, let's add our liquors. All daiquiris take rum. So we're going to start with our 1.5 ounces of rum. Light rum. Okay? Let's put in a half measure of triple sec. Let's put in a full measure of our bar sweet and sour mix. And just going to put in a dash lime juice. Okay, let's put our top on nice and firmly. Low speed. Let's get it creamy. Looks good. Okay. There we go. We put a banana on there. Add a straw. That does look good. Banana daiquiri. The Blue Hawaiian. This blended drink is based on the pina colada. The pina colada is made with pineapples. Pineapples come from Hawaii. We're going to add a liquor to make the drink blue, hence the Blue Hawaiian. Now let's start out with, again, our ice. Now our ingredients first, as in the pina colada, a full measure of light rum. By the way, it's called light rum because of the color. It has nothing to do with calories. Now, our next ingredient is a 1/4 measure of blue curacao. And let's put in our pina colada mix. Remember, just enough to cover the ice. Good. Let's try it on 1, the low setting. Put your hand on top of the blender, hold it down, and let's go with low speed. It's good. Let's get a little more creamy. Just a high speed. Okay. There you go. Now, same garnish. Pineapple garnish. Straw. There it is. The Blue Hawaiian. The Mai Tai, a blended drink that's been around for quite a while. Has 4 basic ingredients, but let's start with our ice. Nice full measure. Into our blender. Basic drink of the Mai Tai, it consists of light rum, a full measure. Then we're going to add a half measure of triple sec.
Okay, you still got the lips, Neil.
Now we're going to put in just a measure of our bar sweet and sour mix. There we go. And the ingredient that makes a Mai Tai is a liquor called Creme de Noia. It's red, as you see. It's going to give us our color. Let's add a half a measure. Okay. Put on our blender top. Make sure it's not down there. There we go. Start off at low speed. Okay, let's get it to high. It's looking good. Okay. There we are. You get a nice pink color, tropical. And we have an orange and cherry garnish. There we go. And a straw. Beautiful. The Mai Tai. Now let's make a pina colada. Again, let's fill our glass with ice. Put it in the blender. The alcohol in a pina colada is light rum. Let's give it 1 full measure. Right into the blender. Now we can add our pina colada mix. Just enough to cover the ice. Good. Now let's blend it. Low speed. About 20 seconds. I'll go to high speed, make it nice and creamy. It looks pretty creamy. Let's try it. All right. There we go. Nice and creamy. Pineapple garnish for the pina colada. Straw. This is the pina colada. Let's make the frozen drink called the strawberry margarita. Now the recipe is the same as the margarita, except we're going to add ice and strawberries and blend it. Let's put in our ice. Just what we need, full. Put it into our blender. Now, as in the margarita, we're going to add first 1 full measure tequila. We have a half measure of triple sec. We're going to put just a dash of Rose's lime juice. And I'm going to measure the lemon mix this time, because we have a lot of ingredients in there. Let's put in a jigger. And I think another half a jigger should do it. Right. Now this right now is a frozen margarita ready to go. All you have to do is put on the top and blend it. But we want to make a strawberry margarita, so we're going to add the best way to make it is use frozen strawberries. They're much easier to blend than fresh strawberries. Fresh strawberries will not blend very well, and they're going to leave a lot of leaves and seeds all over your margarita, so you don't really want it. Let me put one more in there for good measure. Okay. Let's put on our blender top. Low speed. Starting to look good. Go to high speed, get it nice and creamy. Okay. Let's pour it out. That's a nice consistency. There we go. Let's put on a garnish. Nice fresh strawberry that we've pre-slit. There we are. Straw. No salt around the rim because it's a sweet drink, sweet margarita, the strawberry margarita. Let's talk about some non-alcoholic drinks. Non-alcoholic drinks are great for children, and they're also great for the designated drivers that you should always have at your party. So the first one we're going to talk about is the oldest one that I know, which is the Shirley Temple. The Shirley Temple is named, of course, after the child actress, and she was very popular in the 30s. And in the 30s, the most popular mixer was ginger ale. So we're going to start with ginger ale. Leave yourself about inch or so, and then we're going to take grenadine syrup. Just make a circle. There you go. Then let's put in our garnish, orange and cherry. If you're going to give it to children, do not give them this. So we put in our orange and cherry, little straw. And there you go, the Shirley Temple. This is the non-alcoholic Spider-Man. This drink we make for the boys because boys don't like a drink named after girls, so we invented the Spider-Man. Instead of ginger ale, in our highball glass, we're going to use a lemon lime soda because you know the kids are going to taste it, and if it tastes the same as the Shirley Temple, the boys aren't going to like it, and this is for the boys. And then we're going to take our grenadine. We're going to run our grenadine around one time. Now we take our garnish, orange and cherry, no fruit pick, a straw, and just give this one to the boys, the Spider-Man. This non-alcoholic drink is the basic fruit punch. This is for adults or children. And we start out with little orange juice, little grapefruit juice, cranberry juice, leave yourself about an inch, and then to give it that special cocktail flavor, we're going to put in a runaround of grenadine, give it a stir, and then we have our orange and cherry garnish again. And that's a nice little cocktail. Non-alcoholic. The fruit punch. Let's make some blender drinks. Now, the first rule of blender drinks is to use only as much ice as will fit in the glass that you're using. Observe. Now, the ice fills the glass. This is the exact amount of ice that we need. Now, let's put it in our blender. And we'll add our ingredients. This drink we're making right now is the Virgin Pina Colada. As we said, virgin means no alcohol. Pina Colada is made of a mixture of coconut milk and pineapple juice. You don't have to mix that yourself. Any liquor store will sell you a mix that's perfectly suitable. We have this one here. We're just going to pour it in directly over the ice. Just put in enough to just cover the ice. Good. And also make sure you use as fine ice as possible. Take it easy on your blender. Now, blend it. Low speed. That looks pretty good. We can move up. Quick finish. And you can see when it's blended, there it is. That looks good. Let's pour it into our glass. There we are. And garnish. Pina Colada gets a pineapple garnish. Add a straw. Virgin Pina Colada. This non-alcoholic drink is called the Virgin Mary. Any drink that normally contains alcohol that you make without alcohol is called a virgin. So hence, this is the Bloody Mary without alcohol, the Virgin Mary. We make it the same way except there's no vodka. First thing we add is tomato juice. Again, leave yourself about an inch from the top. Then we add our ingredients. First, dash of Tabasco, dash of Worcestershire sauce, sprinkle of pepper, and a sprinkle of salt. Then we're going to take our celery stalk garnish, stir it around just a bit. This is a great non-alcoholic drink for breakfast. And there we have it, the Virgin Mary. We're going to make a non-alcoholic banana daiquiri. So first, let's prepare our banana. Because we're making a non-alcoholic banana daiquiri, and we're not using the rum or the triple sec, we have to use more of the sweet and sour mix and a touch more of the lime juice, because without them we don't have enough liquid to blend. There we go. Just run the knife right down the middle of the banana. Let's peel off our skin. Okay? Now, let's cut it up into some blendable pieces. Okay. Put them right in there. Oops, that should be plenty. Now, we want to do our glass like we did before. We're going to fill it up with ice. That's a good amount of ice. There we are. Now, let's put in a double measure of the bar sweet and sour mix. There we are. And our dash and a touch more of lime juice. A lid. Nice and tight. There we go. Starting to blend. Let's get it creamy. Yeah, isn't that nice? Just need a little slice of banana. I like the ends. There we go. The Virgin Banana Daiquiri.